Shalom, my friends. Welcome to this video where we are going to go through this. So this is a YouTuber that had a missionary who went on his live stream while he was playing, it looks like Fortnite. I really like this guy. He also has a channel called Jewboy, and he's basically a gamer, and he sort of combats anti-Jewish rhetoric, and he's hilarious. He's really funny. You can see his stuff. He also happens to be, he has smicha. He has become a rabbi recently. Kind of a younger guy, you know. But yeah, like, it doesn't sound like he does, you know, he kind of just has it to have it, right? Rabbinical Ordination, whatever. But I kind of wanted to make this kind of like a fun little video to kind of show how he dealt with these missionary trying to convert him live on his stream, and I'll offer my input. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Why do I reject Jesus as Messiah? Honestly, I'll give you the basic answer. He didn't fulfill the prophecies that Messiah is supposed to be when they're alive. The Messiah is not supposed to die. The Messiah is supposed to keep the Torah and all its things. Jesus broke the Sabbath. He said you no longer have to do it. You're not allowed to change the Torah. Jesus did that. What else? Oh yeah. When the Messiah comes, all war stops and all the animals are peacefully with each other. And Jesus was here and didn't do that. He didn't fulfill the prophecy.
So yeah, I mean, this is a pretty generic, you know, textbook answer that a Jew is going to give you, right? He's referring more to like Isaiah chapter 11, right? Where we have, you know, where it says the lion or the wolf will lay with the lamb and all that sort of thing, right? And yeah, if you look in Isaiah chapter 11, this is kind of like obviously a future prophecy that Jesus didn't fulfill, and it's talking about the stem of Jesse, and you know that the Spirit of the Lord will rest upon him, and all that. So he's talking about this future time of peace, you know, where it says that the wolf shall live with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie with the kid, and the calf shall lie with the lion cub. So yeah, that's what he's talking about. These times of world peace, where, you know, no one will harm or destroy on my holy mount, and the land shall be full of knowledge, and the knowledge of the Lord as the water covers the seabed, right? This is the future Messianic ideal. So, yeah, straight up answer. No real problem with how he described things there.
That's sort of what it is. Didn't expect to get biblical today. I don't feel like getting in an argument about it. We're not going to get anywhere. Isaiah 53 is talking about the nation of Israel.
Right into it, right? I don't know. It just gets comical, you know. Obviously, if you're familiar with my channel, I've done, you know, Isaiah 53 to death. I talk about it with Dr. Michael Brown. You know, like, we know how to refute any of the Christian arguments in detail. Obviously, check out, you know, this video here if you want to get into that. We have, you know, if you want to know the sources, you know, I'm debating somebody on Clubhouse here. I always give sources for what I do. Obviously he's on a live stream, so he doesn't really have time to, go here, go to Isaiah chapter 49, verse 3, and you can see explicitly that the servant is Israel, and how, like, the role of the servant is to ultimately be a light unto the nations. Like, I mean, that's effectively what he's saying. So if you want the source, Isaiah 49, 3, verses, 3 through 6, which talks about Israel being the servant, right? You guys know that. If you follow this channel, you know how to debunk this right off the bat. And yeah, he's doing a decent job.
Christians mistranslate the letter mem. They mistranslate it to he. They mistranslate it as for when it's actually from, which is a pretty big mistranslation. Some translations actually corrected it in Christian versions. And they translated it as for, when in reality mem in Hebrew means from. Right? Not for the sins, for your sins, from the sins from the nation of Israel. That's a Jewish perspective. I'm not here to argue with it about it. I'm just telling you that perspective or whatever.
So, look, I don't really go with that approach so much, right? I don't really care to, like, be the gatekeeper of knowledge and say, well, you have to go by my translation or your translation. That's where I slightly differ. This is just a style thing. Like, look, this guy technically has rabbinical ordination, so he's speaking on more of a level of, like, take my word for it. He's not like, trust me, bro. Like, he has, like, a real level of expertise on what he's saying. Now, look, I also have studied this in depth. Obviously, I know what I'm talking about with this, but I just don't find the gatekeeper method to be very, efficacious in convincing the other side. Usually, they just start quoting something from Dr. Brown and whatever. So I like to go with points of agreement. So if they have a translation that they're using, unless it's completely egregious, I'll usually follow their lead on it, but I'll still be able to demonstrate that, Isaiah 53 doesn't refer, to exclusively one person, and it can only refer to Jesus, and the only way to atone for your sins is through Jesus' death on the cross, right? You guys have seen my debates. You know how it works. If you haven't, check them out. Like, I've debated the whole thing about, my debate with Radar Apologetics, where I discussed how there are other ways to receive forgiveness of sin other than just through bloodshed of animals or humans or whatever you want to use, basically the Christian distortion of Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11, right? Yeah, that's one way to atone for sin, but it's not the only way. So that's really the Achilles heel of the New Testament, right? The best way to debunk the New Testament, blood sacrifice, is not the only way to atone for sin or receive forgiveness of sin, however you want to say it, right? All that is covered on here, so if you want in more detail, check that out. But yeah, that's basically a summary of kind of what he's saying. I just would go about it slightly differently, but good job so far.
It's a pretty big thing, by the way. One letter, one prefix that is translated differently in Christianity. Like, that's the basis of the religion, But why am I being targeted already? That's anti-Semitic, bro. I don't know everything, but I know that stuff. Christians they throw Isaiah 53 at you spontaneously, they call it. They say that Jews call it the forbidden chapter, which is just a lie. I don't know who made that up.
That is a lie. Absolutely a lie, right? There's nobody who ever said that Isaiah 53 was a forbidden chapter. There is no forbidden chapter in the Tanach. It's a complete distortion. They say because it's not in the Haftarah, right, that we read after, we read the weekly Parsha. For example, somebody noted that we do read Isaiah 9, 5 through 6, or Isaiah 9, 6 through 7, right? Which Christians often attribute exclusively to Jesus for some reason. And I'll make a video on that to demonstrate how it does have immediate fulfillment with the birth of Hezekiah. There's no way around that. I'll make a video on that if you guys want me to, but it'll be a follow-up, obviously, to my one that I already did on Isaiah 7:14 with regards to, and Tovia Singer even liked that one. He gave a, he said that was, I'll show you the comment. He says, brilliant. So check this out. It has Tovia Singer's accolades, if that means anything to you. So, but regardless, using similar exegesis, we can demonstrate that even the son born in Isaiah 9 is not exclusive to the Messiah. And just to bring that up, that actually is in one of the Haftarahs that we read. So there's no ban on reading the books of chapters in the Tanakh in Jewish circles. It just doesn't exist. You can read whatever you want. There might be more of an emphasis on Chumash than the 5 books than there is on the Nevi'im and the Ketuvim, on the prophets and the writings, but nothing is forbidden. You can learn whatever you want. And it's just why do Christians have to lie about that? I don't understand what that accomplishes. It just, whatever. It's really pathetic and sad, but no. We're Jews. We read the Tanakh. It's our Hebrew Bible. You want to call it the Old Testament, whatever. It's still a part of our lives, and nothing is forbidden.
We literally read it and learn it. We can't argue about 2 different translations. We have one translation which we've followed for years, for thousands of years, and then you have your translation, and that's fine, don't come in here and be your family's Christian, but not gonna lie, Jewish seems so much better. I'm not here to get you to convert. That's not what I'm trying to do here. Jews are trying to get people to convert, but when people question us, we're gonna answer it. It's pretty, that's how it is. I'm not arguing with you, bro. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Did you know? I told you my answers, bro. At this point, just stop bothering me. It's pretty simple. I'll tell you this, it's not how you're gonna get me to convert to Christianity. That's not how it's gonna work. You mean you never had the urge to tap on someone's shoulder in the parking lot and ask, have you found Moses?
That's pretty funny. I've heard Tovia make that joke before. Like, he said it in the context of, how easy it is to convert to Christianity, and how a lot of people, I'm not saying all people, but a lot of people who are in sort of like desperate situations, vulnerable situations, when they get out of prison, they're like, all of a sudden they found Jesus. But you never hear somebody say they found Moses, right? Honestly, yeah, Christianity and Islam even, right? You just say the Shahada, you say there's no God, like, it's very easy to convert to these religions. Whereas Judaism, it's not something that you just, you go through a traumatic experience and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I saw Moses and now I'm gonna convert to Judaism. It's a process. You want to talk about a relationship with God. Jews go through extreme lengths to develop that relationship with God. And it's not just about waking up one day and quote unquote getting saved. As I like to say, Jesus is the greatest spiritual placebo ever conceived. That's not a compliment. It's a placebo. It's not a real connection with God. It's sort of like this pseudo false connection. And it's like instant gratification. Oh, my sins are forgiven. Awesome. Like, regardless of how you, believe once saved, always saved, or whatever you want to believe, like, there's no doubt that becoming a Christian is exponentially easier than converting to Judaism. So, yeah, of course there's going to be more Christians, and of course there's going to be more Muslims, because the conversion process it's just easier.
No, not really. Once again, bro, like, I appreciate your enthusiasm in the topic. It's good that you have something to, to discuss about and to feel fulfilled with, and that's great. But, yeah, I'm not going to yap about it anymore. Sorry. I'm trying to play Fortnite Battle Royale. Jews haven't been missionaries since the 4th century, unless you count Orthodox approaching other... Exactly, yeah, it's Jews approaching other Jews. Out of pure curiosity, since Jewish people don't believe Jesus was a Messiah, then what do you guys believe he was? Jesus was a Jewish guy who was a genius, he was smart. He lived a Jewish life, and then he rebelled one day and wanted to start his own religion.
So usually Christians, I'm sure anybody watching this stream is probably like, how dare you say that he tried to start a new religion? He's more Jewish than any of you, Like, I know, like, obviously the way he said that, this is how it appears to Jews, right? Obviously, Jews don't worship Jesus as a god. If you worship Jesus as a god, that's a new religion. There's no way around it, right? We've done the videos. I've shown how God explicitly states that you saw no form, when God spoke to you at Horeb. Nobody worshiped Jesus in the Tanach, right? We saw this in Deuteronomy 4. You saw no form. We saw this in Deuteronomy 13. Don't worship other gods who you have not known. Nobody knew Jesus in the Tanakh, right? You want to pretend like every time there's an anonymous angel, it refers to Jesus. Sorry, that's circular reasoning. That's not going to fly. Like, we've done this to death, right? You can watch the video on Sam Shamoon that I've been speaking about from, beginning to end, right? We've seen this over and over and over again. Like, there's no excuse. You cannot tell me that Jesus is the God of Israel who Moses prayed to, or that King David prayed to, or Abraham prayed to. I don't care how many angels you want to deify. There is no evidence, zero, that these angels are Jesus, not according to the Tanakh, and not even according to the New Testament. You have no standard for Messianic prophecy, and you have no standard for which angels are pre-incarnate Jesus angels, according to your supposed belief system, and which angels are just regular old angels, right? It's just silly. And this guy's in line with that. He's not getting as in depth, but like I said, you can check out the channel, of course, and see all of the nuance to that if you want more in-depth understanding, right? Demonstrating that God does not appear to Israel in any form. Check that out.
And then the Jews said, what? You see, what you have to understand of the historical the context of that time period was that everyone was starting religions back then. That time period, You could name at least 30 different people that, okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, at least 5 that were starting religions during that time period, and he was one of them, right? And they reported him to the Romans, and because it was illegal to do that, to start new religions under the Roman Empire. And then and then they killed him, back then they killed people by pinning them on the cross. And then it became the logo.
So yeah, like obviously like I said, the way he's describing it, obviously Christians are gonna like pick apart the language and be like, it's not a new religion. Like that's how it's perceived, okay? Like it is a new religion. It's not something that the Jews did. They did not worship Jesus prior to Jesus. It's just a fact. Don't pretend like the new covenant changes that and that's in line with the Tanach, right? I did entire videos demonstrating how the new covenant cannot have been made. From the least of us to the greatest of us, we will all know the Lord. Judah and Israel, not some grafted in nonsense, right? Watch this video, Pastor Eduardo's Messianic Messiantics, the new covenant of Jeremiah 31, if you want an in-depth discussion of that. There is no way anybody can say today that they are under the new covenant of Jeremiah if you actually read what it says in Jeremiah concerning all of Israel and Judah knowing the Lord from the least of us to the greatest of us. The fact that Jews don't know the Lord today, according to Christians, would undermine their belief that the new covenant has been made. Otherwise, they wouldn't be preaching the gospel to Jews because we would all know the Lord from the least of us to the greatest of us. So it's completely backwards the way that Christians interpret the Tanakh. And I think, that's the gist of this.
I'm giving you the perspective. I'm not, whatever. Why would he lie? I'm not, maybe I don't know if he even believed he was lying. Maybe he went crazy. I don't know. I'm not here to argue about hypotheticals, about what if this, what if that. We're not going to, listen, we'll cut it short right here. We're not going to convince each other or anything, right? I'm also fairly educated on this subject. I could go on for hours about it. We could go back and forth. I know all the questions you're going to ask, right? I don't feel like talking about it. I'm trying to play Fortnite. You're not going to convert me. If anything, I will make sure you don't convert me. You specifically. I'll let someone else do it. Is this...
Well, regardless, yeah. Why would he lie? That's a really hilarious question. I think usually when Christians ask that question, they're asking about with regards to the resurrection, the supposed resurrection. And they'll say, why would people die for what they believe to be a lie? And you see so many people dying for what they believe to be, true, right? Even if it's the most batshit insane, nonsense, right? You have like people dying in the name of Allah and, blowing themselves up, people from Hamas. This has been happening, to Jews in Israel. Like, why would a, suicide bomber die? I mean, like, I hate making light of this, but like, that's like what they're saying. Like, why would, a jihadi terrorist die for what he thought to be a lie? Like, he probably doesn't think it's a lie, right? Oh, they saw him rise from the dead according to the book of Acts because Paul mentions it one time. So we have to take that as gospel because all of the witnesses must have believed that Jesus rose from the dead and all of them were killed. Like, literally they have to pull all of these assumptions that are being made, and it's just like a house of cards that isn't even fully constructed, and the second you try to walk inside that house, it completely topples. Like, that is the foundation of Christianity. It has no foundation, and it's completely, it's like the foundation was unrocky from the beginning, and there is no salvation in the interpretation of this. It's mind-boggling to see how many people have been. Anyway,
it's just annoying. I don't know how that's supposed to get people to convert. Like, I get you're trying to save me from eternal damnation, but like, bro, like, be more skibbity. Like, come on. If a Muslim pestered me, would I convert? So I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm extremely confident in my faith in the Jewish religion, from a logical standpoint, also from an intellectual standpoint. So I'm not I'm pretty confident. You know, like I'm pretty confident. I am confident. Like I'm just. I'll tell. That's how it is, bro. Like I'm sorry. It's my favorite verse. It's not like that in Judaism.
I don't know if it's not like that in Judaism. Like, I know people that have favorite verses. You'll see his answer, and I'll try and explain what he's trying to say.
Like, I'll name you a verse. It's from Pirkei Avot specifically, not directly in Torah. Retz katzvi kigibor ke'aryeh. Swiftness of a deer, the strength of a lion. I believe that's how it goes. But like Christianity, like a lot of people like they have their verse, but like no one's really doing that in Judaism. Like we just learn everything. We don't I don't know. Maybe you also learn everything. I don't know. Like yeah, we don't.
Yeah, like I guess what he's saying is, and I know like Christians love to jump on this. Oh, you follow rabbis, you know, like it's just like he's quoting from a rabbinic text, the Pirkei Avot, which is basically like it's the ethics of our fathers is what it translates to. So like it's giving you like it's obviously based on the Torah. It quotes from the Torah, you know, as far as how to live your life. So it's giving you like a practical, ethical way of living your life that is based on the Torah. And sometimes like the way that it's summarized is and commented on has a lot of profound wisdom. Very similar to the book of Mishlei, also known as Proverbs. I think a lot of people, if they were to have favorite verses, a lot of people would quote from probably the Psalms, or you know, from Tehillim, or from you know, Mishlei, from Proverbs. I don't know, like I don't know, do I have a favorite verse? Yeah, I do. I think my favorite verse is Zechariah chapter 8 verse 19, because it proves the identity of the Jews in a way that succinctly demonstrates that only rabbinic Jews can be, you know, inclusive of this prophecy, and that anybody who tries to take our identity, they don't fit with the verse, right? I've shown this many times, you know. If you were to ask me, you know, like, because contextually, when you look at Zechariah chapter 8 verse 19, it doesn't fit with any other people but rabbinic Jews. Like, what group of people do you know that have consistently kept the fasts described here, right? Or even know what they are? Every time I bring this up, you know, like I brought this up on that TikTok debate with that Black Hebrew Israelite guy. He had no idea what that verse was about, and he's claiming he's a real Jew. I brought it up in my debate with Ariel Sakari. He was completely caught off guard. Like, he had no clue what it was talking about. And he's going around saying that he's the real Jew. Like, come on. Like, it's absurd. Yeah, so if you want to see, yeah, this guy basically admitted too, like, he's a Black Hebrew Israelite, and he's claiming that Jews, he had to admit that Jews can keep our identity and still be Jews, right? Without, you know, oh, you don't fit the curses or whatever. So yeah, this is kind of like the all-encompassing verse that demonstrates that, you know, in the future Messianic era, we're going to have the Holy Temple, right? Because these fasts are going to be festivals, and all the nations are going to come to Jerusalem in the future Messianic era, which none of this was fulfilled by Jesus. So, yeah. Anyway.
We don't like quote things like, and the bravery of the man was like Psalms, whatever. I learned it, but like, I don't know, we don't like find one and put in our bio usually. It's just, we just learn stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so that's kind of the gist of it. I don't know.
Went to bed with a younger man because
like
of my husband's ED.
Yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. Anyway, hope this video has been a blessing to you. Shalom Aleichem.